We weren't born to do jobs. Bill Gates on AI's impact on work. I came across this article on Economic Times, and I thought it was quite interesting. And I'm going to give my opinion on it, but I want to read the article first, or portions of it anyway. It says Microsoft co founder Bill Gates said jobs are an artifact of shortage, arguing that employment structures exist because of historical labor scarcity, and that with artificial intelligence, AI advancing, he believes productivity has reached a point where not everyone needs to work. Okay. And, this is a theme that I've been talking about in my previous videos. That, what does the future of work and human labor look like in the future, where most jobs will be replaced by automation and artificial intelligence and the like. Okay. And it's been a big concern of mine, because if jobs are replaced and people's labor is no longer required, well, that's a massive percentage of the population who rely on using their labor to earn an income to make a living. So if that's no longer required, then what does work look like? What does making a living look like? How do you pay your bills? How do you survive? These are questions that I have. And through this article, I guess Bill Gates is telling us we need to reevaluate, this whole concept of human labor and working for pay, that humans were not born for labor. Okay, let me continue. Speaking at Express Ada, an event organized by the Indian Express, Gates urged people to rethink traditional ideas of work. As you move away from human driven action being a necessity, you get a lot more leisure time, and it becomes almost a philosophical question, a matter of purpose, he said. Well, Mr. Gates, this is all well and good for you. You're a billionaire, you own Microsoft, and you can afford to never work again and just spend your time, doing leisurely things. And you don't have to be driven by the necessity or uh, the idea of traditional work, and have to and the idea of having to work to earn, and that's great for you. But not everybody is in this position, and this might be kind of losing touch with reality in a sense. Or maybe I'm misunderstanding Mr. Gates a little bit, but from my perspective, Gates, I mean, it's not that I disagree, because I do think that we are called for a bigger purpose than just to come to this earth to work. I do agree that we weren't just born to do jobs. But unfortunately, in this matrix that we live in this system that we live in this matrix that we live in, we are forced to do jobs and to work in order to be able to survive, to feed ourselves, to put food on the table, to look after our families. Um, so while on the one hand, it would be great if we don't have to be so focused on survival, that we can focus on purpose. But what then do we do for money? Because what if your purpose isn't paying the bills? There's a lot of people that are pursuing their purpose, who know that they're called for greater purpose and greater existence than just living 9 to 5, and the rat race and so on and so forth. But unfortunately, what they feel is their core purpose doesn't put food on the table. So what happens then? you know like, is the world just going to magically shift into a place where you can automatically be rewarded for pursuing your purpose? Call me skeptical, but I don't necessarily see that happening, because the currency and system of the world is that you solve problems on a massive scale, for people outside of yourself, and in return they reward you. So whether that's a problem that you're solving for your employer, or whether it's some kind of business or invention that you've created to solve other people's problem, that's where you get rewarded, right? So if your purpose, or what you deem as your purpose, doesn't solve problems for people in a way that they reward you financially or monetarily, then how does that work? Unless we're doing away with the concept of money altogether, right? So while on the one hand, I do agree that we're created for more than just work, and we're not born just to do labor all our lives and work for 65 years and then look forward to retirement. But on the other hand, what does survival look like? What does living day to day look like? For those that are already millionaires and billionaires who never have to worry about money, it's all well and good. They already spend most of their days on the golf course with their golf buddies, striking up business deals. That's not everybody's world. So for us normal folk, what does life look like? Right? Let me continue. He also challenged the idea that human intelligence must be the primary driver of work. People who have um, grown up in a world of scarcity will have to rethink things. Well, I guess I fall into that boat because I have grown up in a world of scarcity, and maybe that has shaped my frame of mind. But can you blame me? And I'm sure most people who are not the 1% sort of think a little bit like me. Um, so maybe we need to do some kind of brain surgery to reprogram ourselves into what the world would look like, because we are, unfortunately, we've grown up in this matrix known as the system that we live in today. Anyway, let me continue. Today we can choose whether a machine or a human performs a task. Today we can choose whether a machine or a human performs a task. It's difficult to reprogram your brain to this shift, he added. Um, and that's my concern. Most of us haven't grown up with a silver spoon. We've been programmed. We've been put through a system that relies on you going through school, going through the education system, so that you're prepared for the workforce. Right? This has been our programming all our lives. Now, all of a sudden, you're telling us that's no longer going to be the program. That's no longer going to be the system. So, what do you want us to do? How do you want us to survive? Right? So, I find this article very interesting. But I also want, you know, to put it to you guys, and please answer me in the comments. What do you think? What does the future look like for us? And while it's great that machines can replace labor, and this gives us the opportunity to pursue our greater purpose, but then how is that rewarded? How do we find sustenance and livelihood through that? Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting one. It's a very very interesting one, and maybe AI is a good thing. For me, AI would be a good thing if machines take away all the manual labor, right, and stops us from being human robots, wage slaves, and being stuck in the rat race, and allows us to spend time with our families, and because we no longer have to worry about 9 to 5 and so on and so forth. We have more time to spend with our families and to pursue the things that really matter to us, and to to maybe pursue God more and build our relationship with God, and pursue our passions and things that we love doing. We have more free time to do that. But that's fantastic. And we can touch people's lives and we can do things that are really productive and meaningful to us. That's fantastic. I love that AI is going to give us the opportunity to do that. But the question still remains, how do we live? How do we put food on the table, a roof over our head, look after our children? Would the average, everyday, normal, non-billionaire, non-millionaire guy be able to still do those things for himself and his family, or herself and her family and their children? That's what I want to know. I'm interested to know your thoughts with regards to this. So please share them in the comment section and check out this next video that's coming up as well.